So here's our video, adding mixed numbers, and for this one, um, this is how I like to write my fractions or my mixed numbers when I'm adding them together vertically. Um, I just have never done them horizontally, always done them vertically. When I add or subtract fractions or mixed numbers, I always make sure that I kind of imagine these separate to start with. So I'm going to add them up separately to start with. There. So it doesn't matter what you add with first. If you can add the whole numbers first, you can add the fractions first. Just to stay with what we do with regular adding, I'll start with the right and then go left. So first you add up your fractions. Remember, when you're adding fractions, you have to make sure the denominators are the same, have the same size pieces. They do. So now we just add the numerators together. 1 plus 2 is 3. Our denominator is 6. So 1 6 plus 2 6 equals 3 6. Now I come over here and I add the whole numbers together. 3 plus 4 is 7. So 4 and 1 6 plus 3 and 1 6 plus 4 and 2 6 equals 7 and 3 6. If the expectation was to make sure your fractions were in simplest form, we have to double check to make sure that our fraction is in simplest form. In this case, it is not. Both the numerator and the denominator have a common factor, and that common factor is, hopefully you said 3. Both of these can be divided by 3. So we're going to take 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 3 6 is equivalent to 1/2. 1/2 is in simplest form. It cannot be simplified anymore. Doesn't share any common factors besides 1. So our answer in simplest form to 3 and 1 6 plus 4 and 2 6 is 7 and 1/2. Okay, our next problem is going to be a little bit different. Same, we have common denominators, so we don't have to find any. We don't have to find a common denominator, and I'm going to put in my little line. Now, when you do this, when you do these problems, you don't actually have to put this line. I'm just putting this there so you can kind of see my thinking. So, starting the right side, we add the fractions first. 4 fifths plus 2 fifths equals 6 fifths. Now, what kind of fraction is 6 fifths? Hopefully you said an improper fraction, and that's going to come into play here in a second. So now I've added my fractions. Now I'm going to add my whole numbers. 5 plus 2 is 7. So I have 7 and 6 fifths. It's a perfectly acceptable answer. There's going to be times when you're going to need to make the mixed number with the improper fraction a mixed number with a proper fraction. So if you can't remember how to do improper fractions to a mixed number, you can check out that video. I'm going to do it really quick right here. Remember, fractions are also division problems. So 6 divided by 5. There's one group of 5 in 6. So 1 times 5 is 5. I subtract and I get 1. So that leaves me with 1 left over. So 1 remainder 1. So 6 fifths equals 1 and 1 fifth. 1 and 1 fifth. Now, on this side of the line, we have fractions. On this side of the line, we have whole numbers. But if you look right here, what's this? This is a whole number. So we're going to take this whole number and we're going to add it to this whole number over here. So 1 plus 7 is 8. The fraction stays the same. So we have 1/5. So 5 4/5 plus 2 2/5 equals 7 6/5. 6/5, the improper fraction, was turned into a mixed number, 1 1/5. We took the whole number 1, added it to the whole number 7 to get 8. We have the fraction 1/5. So our answer to that problem is 8 1/5. And for our last problem here, we're going to be adding mixed numbers with unlike denominators. So we know that when you add fractions, your denominators should be the same. The size of the pieces you're putting together should be the same. We also know that there's different ways to do it. One is to do the quick common denominator. In that case, this is going to be a little bit too difficult. Or it's not going to be too difficult, but you're going to get a really big number. So in this case, I'm going to think about the multiples to find the least common multiple. And I'm actually going to change one of my numbers here. I'm going to change this number to 8/10. 2/5 and 8/10. So first thing, I have to find a common denominator. And since I would get a really big number for this one, I'm not going to do quick common denominator. I'm going to use multiples. So the multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15. I'm going to stop there because I already see the first multiple of 10 is 10, and that's a 10. The same multiple, a common multiple. So I don't even have to change 8/10. 8/10 is just going to stay the same that it is. Here, I'm going to have a denominator of 10. 5 times 2 is 10. So I had to do the same thing to the numerator. 2 times 2 is 4. 4/10 plus 8/10 is 12/10. So I've got my fractions done. Now I'm going to come over here to my whole numbers. 9 plus 7 is 16. So when I was adding my fractions, I noticed that this was an improper fraction. I'm going to go ahead and turn that into a mixed number by doing my division. So 12 divided by 10. There's one group of 10 in 12. And then if I subtract, I get 2 left over. So I have 1 remainder 2. And my denominator doesn't change. So 12/10 is the same as 1 2/10. 2/10 is not in simplest form. We can simplify that. And they share a common factor of 2. So I'm going to divide both of those by 2, which is going to give me 1/5. 2/10 is equivalent to 1/5. And I still have my whole number here. Whole numbers go on this side. So I'm going to add this whole number to this whole number. 1 plus 16 is 17. Come back, my fraction is 1/5. So 17 and 1/5 is going to be my answer for this problem. Knock knock. Soup. Ooh, I messed it up. Let me start over. Knock knock. Soup on. Soup on's the stove. Get it yourself. That was a funny one, wasn't it? Well, if you have any questions, make sure you let Mr. Brandt know, and have a great day.